Hello and welcome to the programme. Spain's Socialist Party and the far-left Unidas Podemos have agreed a deal to form a coalition government. It comes just 2 days on from the fourth general election in 4 years that saw Parliament left deeply fragmented and the far-right Vox party double its seats. But the left-wing coalition has already hit a bump in the road as it needs the backing of other parties to command a majority. That still looks to be very far off. Centre-right Ciudadanos has already said it won't support the government alongside the Catalan separatist party Esquerra, saying it wasn't ready to back the coalition either, as Judith Prescott reports.
A united front of progressive forces in Spain. The preliminary coalition agreement between Prime Minister Sanchez's Socialists and Podemos follows an inconclusive election, Spain's fourth in as many years. The result left Sanchez with fewer seats than before and consequently more open to compromise. Both leaders indicated their deal was a response to the rise of the far right.
This new government will be a resoundingly progressive one. It will be because it will be composed of progressive forces by the Socialist Party, by Unidas Podemos, and will be progressive especially because it will work for the progress of Spain and for the progress of the Spaniards. The only thing that does not fit in the spirit of the future progressive government will be hatred and confrontation among Spaniards.
It will be a progressive coalition government that combines the experience of the PSOE with the courage of the United We Can. A government that works for dialogue to face the territorial crisis and for social justice as the best vaccine against the extreme right.
But the combination of the two party seats still leaves them short of a majority in Parliament. They now have to persuade other smaller groups to give them their backing before a government can be confirmed. Judith Prescott, Euronews.
Well, for more on that coalition deal, I'm joined by Simon Hunter, editor of El País English. Well, good evening to you. So that was quick, wasn't it? If it was so easy this time around to form a coalition with Podemos, why didn't Pedro Sanchez do this back in April and not put Spaniards through yet another election?
Well, that's the question that we've all been asking ourselves today, because when we had this election in April, we could have had a left-wing government formed right back then, but instead we've had these interminable talks which dragged on all through the summer, really went down to the wire, and they just couldn't make it happen. The two leaders just couldn't make it happen. Podemos was offered 3 ministries and a deputy prime minister spot by Pedro Sanchez, the caretaker prime minister, but they refused. The talks completely stalled, and amazingly, they've managed to do it in 48 hours. Now, it really is quite obvious why, and that's because of Vox. And Vox was the surprise winner of the Sunday elections. It went from 24 seats to 52 seats in Congress. It's now become the third biggest force in the Spanish Parliament, which is extraordinary when you think a year ago, Vox was nowhere. I mean, it just didn't really register anywhere in Spanish politics. So obviously that's really to put the wind up Pedro Sanchez and Pablo Iglesias, as it were, and they've managed to cobble together this deal. But we're not out of the woods yet. There's an extremely complicated parliamentary arithmetic involved. First of all, for Pedro Sanchez actually to get invested, an investiture ceremony, debate, in Parliament. But then, of course, let's see if he can actually get anything done once he becomes Prime Minister, because it's such a fragmented Congress. But in some respects,
you're putting the cart before the horse, because they haven't got a majority yet. So obviously that is what Pedro Sanchez is going to want to do. As we were saying, Esquerra has said no. Ciudadanos has also said no. So where does that leave him?
Well, basically, the way it works is in the first round of the investiture debate, he would need an absolute majority to get voted in as Prime Minister. In the second round, he would just need a simple majority. And some of the arithmetic suggests that he would need 15 abstentions. So although Esquerra, as you say, the Catalan Republican left, is at the moment saying no, these parties may be persuaded to abstain, which would pave the way for Sanchez to become Prime Minister. Because let's face it, no one's going to want to be the party that forces Spain to a 5th general election in 5 years, in as many years. I mean, that just, I think the fatigue among the voters is really, really rising now. We saw us fall in voter turnout on Sunday, and that would just be a disaster. So there's going to be pressure on, whoever's standing in the way of the formation of a government. There will be a lot of pressure on them to step aside and let it happen.
OK, well, pressure there on in Spain. Well, Simon Hunter, thanks so much.